So if you're a beginner, you might be overwhelmed with all the different languages that are kind of out there. And the key takeaway with all these different languages is that they're all kind of built for a specific purpose. Like Node.js is built for like web APIs. Python is more geared to like rapidly prototyping or doing some type of data science. Rust and C++ are more geared towards like performance. So that's why you see a lot of game engines written in that. But I wanted to kind of just talk about why knowing different languages, not necessarily knowing them in depth, but knowing some different languages can help you become a better developer. So I think the best way to drive this point home is just to show you an example of what I've been working on and how I've been using different languages. I've been using Node and Python to help achieve solving some of the problems that I'm encountering. So the project I've been working on is I'm trying to build an automated thumbnail rating system for YouTube. So like if you have a thumbnail, give it a star rating from 1 to 5, where 1 means the thumbnail kind of doesn't look that good, and 5 means the thumbnail looks pretty great. So I have a data set up here, and what I'm doing is I'm taking these folders 1 through 5, and I'm feeding that into something called a neural network. More specifically, I'm trying to use a convolutional neural network to take the image and try to extract some type of information and then classify these images from 1 to 5. So far, it's not really working that well, but maybe I'll do an update video if I get some progress on this and show you how I did it. The more specific problem I'm trying to share with you all is that I have a huge folder of like, I don't know, 5,000, 6,000 thumbnails, and I need to put those into these different subfolders based on how I personally think the thumbnail looks. So if I grab this image here, I might give that like a 1 or a 2. It's just a picture. There's no context. I don't know what this video might be about. I don't even know why that's showing up. Or this one, I mean, I give that maybe a 1 or 2. I think it's okay. It kind of shares some context of the video, but it could just be designed better. This one, 1 or 2. This might be a 3 or a 2. So you get what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to kind of make my own data set based on my opinions and then have the neural network train and try to be able to classify thumbnails without a human intervention. So the one thing I needed to do first was download all these thumbnails, right? So to give you a little bit of information, I worked on a different video a while back where I have this JSON file with a ton of different channels, all their videos, and their thumbnail links for those videos. So I needed to basically grab every single thumbnail and put it inside of this folder first. Luckily, I know Node, so I figured, hey, I should use Node or JavaScript to do this part of the processing because it's really easy in Node to just load in a JSON file and start processing on it. If I needed to load in a JSON file in Python or C++ or C#, there's just a little bit more overhead and I didn't want to deal with that. Also, I'm more familiar with JavaScript, so I know I could just import Axios and just like do a request using a stream to grab the file and put it in a folder, right? I work with JavaScript in the Node full time, so this is my most comfortable language. This is my primary language. So to build something that I'm pretty confident I can build quicker with my primary language, I just go ahead and do that. Now, if you're on a large scale project with a large team of people, then you probably need to shoehorn your solution into the existing tech stack, which can really be a burden for other developers in your project because now they have to learn a new language, they have to learn a new tech stack. So if, for example, I was working at work, I would never even use Python unless I had to, which in this case, you probably have to for data processing. So I wrote this script that basically just downloads the file, puts it in the folder, that's it. So I think this was a good use case for using Node, especially for me in my personal knowledge. But the next step is I need to take all those thumbnails and move them to the subfolders, right? I kind of talked about that before. So I decided I could try to do this in Node, but the issue with Node is that I don't have access to show a UI, right? It's very hard to show a UI, to show the image, and then listen to a user press 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. I mean, you could kind of wrap this with Electron. I could build like a web app and then wrap it in Electron. Like I couldn't solve that problem with just a browser either because the browser doesn't have access to the file system. So I can't move files around on my computer just using a web browser and JavaScript. So it's like if I wanted to use JavaScript, I have to pull in Electron. And it's just a bunch of extra stuff that I don't really need. So I decided to just go with Python for that solution, right? You can easily move files around on your disk with Python. And there's also a matplotlib library that you can basically show images easily. I think I do it. Let me show you where I try to do this. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. So this is like the mover script that I wrote in Python. Basically, it just loops through all the files that's in this thumbnails directory. It's going to show a plot of the image, and then it's going to listen to my my input, right? So just to kind of show you how this works, let me go ahead and activate this Python mover. And I need to make sure this is not full screen. I can kind of show you how it's working, how I use it. Right, so what it does is it shows me an image over here on the left, and then over in my terminal, I can just say, is that a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? I give this one like maybe a 2 or a 3. This one again. And what this is doing is actually taking those images and moving them to the corresponding folders, right? So this is how I'm trying to like build up my data set. And again, I could probably use a different language or a different stack to do this, but at the time, I decided to just do the easiest thing first, which would probably be using Python. Now, a little takeaway is Python is not my primary language. I don't really code in Python that much, but there's so many examples out there of how to do simple stuff that it's really easy to pick up Python and just use it. Or if you just need to do like a temporary script or just do some data processing or file processing. So yeah, the main takeaway from this video, again, this is like just a random video I thought of, is it's good to know different languages and know a little bit of different tech stacks so that you can always pull them out of your back pocket if you need to solve a problem. Again, like I said, some stacks are better at solving certain problems. So I'm not going to cover in this video, but I am starting to use a neural network using Keras. I think it's called Keras and TensorFlow. I think they have support for JavaScript using this, but I do think Python is a better solution for doing data processing or image processing or machine learning. Since there's a ton more examples out there, there's a lot more blog posts, there's a lot more tutorial videos, and they're all in Python. Versus if I tried to use JavaScript, my primary language for doing this, it would probably take me a lot longer because there's not as many resources to learn and build upon. All right, so that's really all I wanted to talk about. If you enjoyed watching this video, give me a thumbs up. Also, be sure to leave a comment below if you have a different back pocket language you like using. I like using Python whenever I need to do different types of scripting. And then, like always, be sure to subscribe if you want to see more content like this, which would help you become a better web developer, hopefully in the future.